Comrades and friends, this is Global Weekly News, serial number 168. First, we go to Nepal. Corruption, unemployment reaches boiling point in Nepal. Nepal's population is 3 crores. Remittances around 33% of GDP in 2024, among the highest ratios worldwide. The foreign Nepali workers send remittances to their homes. Their remittances are around 33% of GDP. In financial year 2024-25, through the Department of Foreign Employment issued 8,39,266 exit labor permits. But Nepal government is not able to create adequate decent employment by increase in domestic investments. Youth under and unemployment is already high at 20.82% as seen in 2024. The resignation of Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli amidst massive youth-driven protests has raised many questions for the people of Nepal and its once united left parties. The trigger for the protests was the government ordered 26 major social media platforms to register locally and began blocking those deemed non-compliant, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, WhatsApp, X and others. Crowds surged towards Parliament. Police deployed tear gas, rubber bullets, and in several places resorted to live fire. By late September 9, at least 19 people were killed and well over 300 injured. Under pressure, the government lifted the social media ban and Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and the Home Minister resigned. The movements in Nepal echoed Bangladesh student-led mobilizations and Sri Lanka's Aragalaya movement. Aragalaya means agitation movement. School and college students in unison, unemployed graduates, gig workers and informal workers and a broader disillusioned people converged around a shared verdict on misrule in Sri Lanka. So Rajapaksa has to go. Amnesty International demanded an independent probe into possible unlawful use of lethal force in Nepal. Following Nepal's 4-year IMF extended credit facility program, the government faced pressure to boost domestic revenue. This led to a new digital services tax and stricter VAT rules for foreign e-service providers. But when major platforms refused to register, the state escalated by blocking them. The public was already dealing with rising fuel costs and economic hardships driven by the IMF program's push for fiscal consolidation. The rightist forces in Nepal are attempting to bring back monarchy rule. The task before the left and democratic forces are to re-establish a democratic rule, safeguard the secular character of the constitution, and for proposing people-oriented alternate policies with labor-intensive economic reforms. Second item, comrades. 2 lakh people mobilized in pro-Palestine rally at London. Around 2 lakh people once again filled the streets of London on 6th September for the 30th national demonstration for Palestine. Additional mobilizations targeted the ban on direct action group Palestine Action, with further actions planned this week as Israel's President Isaac Herzog arrives for an official visit with Keir Starmer's government. In London alone, about 1,500 people protested the ban on Palestine Action. a pro-Palestine group. Since July, the group Defend Our Juries has organized a sit-in where participants hold signs reading, I oppose genocide, I support Palestine action. More than 800 people were arrested on counter-terrorism charges for joining the Dharna. United Kingdom government has given vague promises of conditional recognition of Palestinian statehood. Deputy Prime Minister of England has said that the UK government has not concluded that Israel is acting with the intent of genocide. Third item, comrades. Ban on 3 pro-Palestine groups in USA. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced on 4th September that the US will sanction 3 leading Palestinian rights groups for directly engaging in what he called the illegitimate targeting of Israel by the International Criminal Court. The sanctioned groups are Gaza-based Al-Mazon Center for Human Rights, Gaza-based Palestinian Center for Human Rights, and third one, Ramallah-based Al-Haq. Marco Rubio stated that the sanctions are pursuant to Executive Order 14,203 that was issued by US President Donald Trump on 6th February 2025. Imposing sanctions on the International Criminal Court, these entities have directly engaged in efforts by the International Criminal Court to investigate, arrest, detain, or prosecute Israeli nationals without Israel's consent, Marco Rubio added. The senior US official clarified that the US and Israel are not party to the Rome Statute. Under the Rome Statute only, International Criminal Court is formed and are therefore not subject to the International Criminal Court's authority. The 3 organizations had filed a lawsuit with the International Criminal Court in 2023 November, urging the Office of the Prosecutor to include crimes against humanity, notably apartheid, and the crime of genocide in the ongoing investigation into the situation in the state of Palestine. By November 2023, 10,000 Palestinians were killed. Now the total number of fatalities has increased to 64,400 Palestinians. Trump administration also denied the issuance of US visas for over 80 Palestinian officials, including President Mahmoud Abbas, on 29th August, apparently to block them from attending the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, which will open on 9th September, and this year's session is considered crucial for the Palestinian people as it is expected to see the recognition of a Palestinian state by a number of countries. Fourth item, comrades. Second time attack on Global Summit Flotilla. The Global Summit Flotilla is made up of trade unionists, health workers, actors, activists, and ordinary people seeking to reach Gaza with essential supplies while spotlighting Israeli war crimes and Western government's complicity. It marks the largest attempt to break the sea blockade since the genocide began in October 2023, supported by dozens of civilian vessels and thousands of volunteers on land. The Global Summit Flotilla has come under attack for a second time in days while preparing to break the Israeli blockade of Gaza by sea. The vessel Alma, sailing under a British flag, was struck in another suspected drone assault and sustained fire damage to its upper deck. The incident followed the attack a day earlier on the flotilla's family boat. The strike drew widespread condemnation from grassroots groups and led to immediate popular mobilizations in the Tunisian port of Sidi Bou, where the flotilla is currently decked. No acts of aggression will stop us, the flotilla personnel told. Fifth, we go to Spain. The Spanish government stopped short of passing a formal arms embargo on Israel after Prime Minister of Spain announced a new measure against it in the light of the genocide in Gaza. Earlier this week, the Prime Minister of Spain presented a list of 9 sanctions, including ban on transit of ships carrying fuel for the Israeli military through Spanish ports, restrictions of entry on state aircraft transporting weapons, and entry bans for individuals complicit in war crimes. Israel initially responded by accusing the Spanish government of anti-Semitism and imposing entry bans on 2 ministers of Spain. Spain recalled its ambassador from Tel Aviv in protest. In the days following his announcement, however, Spain cabinet delayed pushing through a full embargo on arms, citing the recently necessity of more consultations between ministers. Since the beginning of Israel's genocide in Gaza, Spain has positioned itself as one of the stronger critics of Israeli actions compared to other European governments. Solidarity networks demand arms embargo and the suspension of all relations with Israel. Protests are certain to continue in the coming weeks, including a large demonstration against arms trade and for suspension of relations with Israel on October 4. Sixth item, comrades. We go to India now. Indian left condemns BJP government for hosting Israeli minister. CPIM and several other opposition groups, intellectuals and activists condemned the Indian government for hosting Israel's ultra-right-wing leader and finance minister Smotrich. The CPIM and others demanded that India cut all ties, relations with Israel. They reminded the Indian government that it has been the country's foreign policy to oppose occupation and support anti-colonial movements such as the Palestinian struggle. Smotrich was in India for a 3-day visit. During his stay in India, he met several top officials and signed several deals, including a bilateral investment agreement with his Indian counterpart Nirmala Sitharaman on 8 September. There was a settlement, bilateral agreement. Smotrich, a leader of the violent and racist settlement movement in the occupied West Bank, has been one of the main backers of Israel's genocidal war in Gaza and a key obstacle to ceasefire negotiations. He, along with Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, have been pushing for the mass starvation of the Palestinians in Gaza to force them out of the besieged territory for Israel's annexation of it. Smotrich and Ben-Gvir have been banned by several countries from visiting for their incitement of violence against Palestinian citizens, including in West Bank settlements. The countries include the United Kingdom, New Zealand, Norway, and Canada. There is an arrest warrant pending against both the Israeli ministers at the International Criminal Court for their support and promotion of apartheid policies in the occupied territories. Talking to the Indian press, Smotrich also tried to justify the war and genocide in Gaza, calling it a fight against terrorism. The BJP government from 2014 has been following a pro-Israeli line. Seventh item, comrades, Israelis attack on Doga. Israeli warplanes targeted a residential building at the center of the Qatari capital, Doha, on 9th September, where senior leaders of Hamas convened to discuss a new Gaza ceasefire proposal brought forward by US President Donald Trump on 7th September. The delegation, which includes senior Hamas leaders and is headed by Khalil al-Hayya, survived the airstrikes. However, the son of Khalil al-Hayya, Humam al-Hayya, and his office director, Jagad Labat, were killed in the attack. Israeli Prime Minister and Defense Minister claimed that the aggression on Qatar was launched in response to a shooting attack in occupied Jerusalem, which was carried out by two young Palestinian men, the illegal Israeli settlement of Ramat on 8th September. The military wing of Hamas issued a statement shortly before the Qatari capital was attacked by Israel, claiming responsibility by the Jerusalem attack, which left 6 people dead and 12 others wounded. Following the attack by the two Palestinians, the Israeli occupation forces imposed collective punishments on thousands of Palestinians residing in the two villages of East Jerusalem. Raids were carried out by the Israeli occupation forces in the two villages. Many roads leading to these villages and other nearby villages have been blocked by the Israeli occupation forces, restricting the movement of about 70,000 Palestinians. The Israeli Defense Minister also ordered the cancellation of 750 work and entry permits for residents of these two villages. The Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, wrote on X social media, the state of Qatar strongly condemns the cowardly Israeli attack. This assault constitutes a blatant violation of all international laws and norms and poses a serious threat to the security and safety of Qataris and residents in Qatar. The fact that Qatar hosts the largest US military base in the West Asia region predicts the possibility that Israel would have launched the attack without informing its number one ally in the region in advance. That means Israel would have in advance intimated the US President about their attack on Qatar. 8th item, comrades. Attica prisoner uprising in 1971 in USA. Between September 9 and 13, 1971, out of roughly 2,200 men imprisoned at Attica, 1281 seized control of the facility. Prisoners held control of the parts of the prison for 4 days, during which officials conceded to 28 of the prisoners' demands. On September 13, 1971, Governor Nelson A. Rockefeller sent state troopers with rifles and pistols to retake Attica from the prisoners. The 4-day uprising ended in a pool of blood and gunfire that left 39 dead, among them 10 prison staff. 4 more already died earlier during the uprising. With 43 men dead, the vast majority from the violence of state repression, the Attica prison uprising is still the deadliest prison uprising in US history. Lastly, comrades, we go to BRICS meeting. BRICS for Democratic Global Trade. A virtual BRICS Trade Summit was held at the invitation of Brazilian President Lula da Silva amidst the US President Trump's tariff war and threats against the organization. Participants in the BRICS Trade Summit condemns the the participants in the BRICS Trade Summit condemned the growing unilateralism and bullying tactics used by the United States to disrupt international law and order. The participants also argued to work for truly democratic multilateral global governance mechanism in the coming days. Trump has called BRICS an anti-American platform and threatened its members with 10% additional tariffs. BRICS has repeatedly declared that it is an organization created to widen the scope of mutual cooperation among its members, and it does not seek to undermine any particular country. It has been working to reduce the dependency on the US dollar for natural trade. White House trade advisor Peter Navarro expressed apprehensions about the future of BRICS, claiming these countries hate each other and kill each other. He went on to claim that most of its members depend on the US for their international trade. Lula da Silva asserted that in the upcoming United Nations General Assembly, BRICS members will speak with one voice in defense of revitalized multilateralism. Lal Salam, comrades. Thank you.